Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing yet another stressful video. At least it is stressful for me. I'm going to be going over if I could only keep 10 brushes, which ones would they be and why? You guys, these videos actually give me a little bit of anxiety because I feel like I'm putting something into the air. Like, oh, if you could only keep so many, like it's going to happen. Please don't ever happen because again, this is stressful. It's not the kind of stress that actually matters, but it gives me a little bit of anxiety. I'm just gonna say that. And like with all the other videos I have done talking about my top 10 or rating things, I switched things up so many times and I was still doing it up to 5 minutes ago. So we're just going to stick with what I've got now and run with it. All right, I'm going to start off with eyes because the eyes I feel like was pretty easy for me. I have a few brushes that I just run to no matter what, and there's definitely several ones that I'm going to miss if this were to ever happen, but I feel like I could do a really good eye with these brushes, and they take up half of the 10. I have 5 eye brushes here. So I'm going to start off with one that actually replaced one of my favorite brushes. This is the first brush I thought of when I was thinking about this video. It was an automatic, this is going in there, and it's my Zoeva 227. You guys know that I used to love and rave and just absolutely adore the MAC 217, and then I got my hands on this, and at first it was kind of like, it's okay, I like it, and then it turned into, I actually like this better than the MAC 217. I have so many of these brushes. You guys will see me doing a video where I'm doing several different looks, and I usually will start off with this brush. And it's because I have so many. I'm not sitting here cleaning them between each look. I have several of them. This is an affordable brush that I will tell you will work with every single eyeshadow formula out there, even Pat McGrath. So when people say, oh, I don't want to have to buy an expensive brush to make expensive shadows work, you don't. Zoeva 227 and pretty much the whole Zoeva Luxe line, which that is what this is. It is the Luxe Soft Definer. The whole Luxe line is something that is going to be a great affordable option for you if you're trying to get a good quality brush that is going to work with even those stiffer formulas. And that's what I love about this. Not only is it affordable, but the shape and everything is perfection. For me, this is a great outer corner. It is the crease and as well as my transition area. This is my favorite brush to use for my transition. Hands down. Gotta have it. Next up from Wayne Goss, this is the number 18. If you look at this one side by side of the 227, it's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit denser, and I'm able to get into the crease and define just a little bit better than I am with the 227. And either one of these brushes is going to be able to work for my nose contour because you guys know I use this one every single day. This is from Tom Ford to do my nose. It's just the perfect shape. But when you only have 10 brushes, you have to multitask. You have to have brushes that will do dual purpose tasks, and these both will. So these are basically my blending and crease brushes. And I have one more for detail work. Again, from Wayne Goss. I went back and forth with this one and the Sonia G Mini Booster. I couldn't decide between the two, but when it comes to having to, go in the crease as well as underneath, I felt like this was the better option because of my eye shape. I love the Mini Booster to really go underneath the lower lash line, and you can get really, really precise, especially if you have hooded eyes with the Mini Booster, but this one for my eye shape is really lovely. So I can get right into that crease. It's not going to spread out or anything like that. I can buff it out if I want to, but if I want to get really precise in the crease, it's perfection. If I want to get really precise on the outer corner, perfection, and I can blend underneath my lower lash line. Speaking of lower lash line, again, I have so many of these brushes, thanks to REPHR, thank you so much. But this is the REPHR number 3. It is a tiny little pencil brush, and it's the perfect denseness. It's the perfect softness. It's the perfect size to really get right up against the lash line if I need to. I can even smoke out my lower lash line if I need to, and I can take liner or shadow and go right up against my top lash line to add a little bit of depth. This is a perfect one. And what I really like about this, I can get on that inner corner. This one is another one that was just like, definitely have to have my REPHR 03. The next brush is something you guys have seen me use for years and years and years and years, and it's the MAC 242. Now this particular brush has been discontinued. They now have the 242S, which is all synthetic. What makes this one so special is that it is natural and synthetic fibers, so it just moves perfectly. I can carve out underneath my brow arch with this. I can apply metallics really well with this. I can apply liquid shadows, pigments, everything. The brush that this was up against was the ESEM W21, and the reason why I picked this one instead, because I feel like it has just a little bit more versatility. This one is a little bit thicker. This one packs on pigments, metallics, cream shadows, and all that really well. But again, I have to be able to multitask, and this one is the one that I can really get right up against my brow and clean it up, and I can really define right here if I want to add a little bit of shine, you know, to my brow arch. Now, like I said, this one is discontinued, but there's one that's coming, and it's the REPHR P21. I begged them to make this brush, and I have a ton of prototypes. It's not out yet, but it will be. I don't know when. I just know that they are working on it. So this will be the new MAC 242. It's the only one that I know of that's pretty much identical, and this is dual fiber as well. So be on the watch out for that. If you missed out on the MAC 242, this one will be coming out, and I will be the first to let you guys know when this comes out. I call this the Mel brush. It's my brush. So that is it for eyes. Let's move on to face, and this is where it got extremely difficult for me because I switch up my face brushes a lot. Okay, let's start off with powder. There's no way I could leave this behind. It's just not gonna happen. I wanted this brush so badly, but I refused to spend $250 on it. I actually got it at Sephora. I don't know why, but they had a Surat beauty sale, and it was 50% off, and I got my hands on this. What is it called? I think it's the face brush. I will have everything listed and linked down below, but this is one of the softest brushes you will ever touch. Just look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. I could do this all day long. All day. This is brush heaven. Brush heaven. So this is the one that I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to use to set all over. I'm going to use this to set my face. I can use this with pressed powder as well as with translucent, and I generally use translucent anyway. So this is what I chose for that. And then I had to think, okay, bronzer, buffing, blush, all of that. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Sonia G. This is one of my favorite brushes in my collection. I have two of these, and it's the Master Face Brush from the Sky collection. I can do so many things with this brush. It was hard for me to try to figure out, okay, I do so many different powder applications, whether it is setting my face, buffing, which is a whole nother thing. I have a different powder for underneath my eyes. I bronze, I highlight, I blush, you know, everything. This one will do so many different things. It will set my face, it will buff, which is what I really want it for, is to buff everything out, because this one you really want to be careful with. So I'm just going to apply a little extra powder and just kind of dust everything on at the end of my routine. This one's fine, but you have to be careful with it. This one, I can be a little bit more willy-nilly with it, and it's just perfection. And it's also amazing for bronzer. It is so, so good. But I basically chose this because I wanted to use it to buff my powder at the end of my routine. For my bronzer, I chose another Sonia G brush. There's a lot of Sonia G in here. She has so many different shapes that, I mean, like, everybody can find something that works for them. This is the Sonia G Face Pro, and I actually used this one today to do my bronzer. I went back and forth because I've been using this one so much. It's the BK Beauty 103. Like I said, this was hard for me. It's hard for me to really say, okay, 10 brushes, what am I gonna pick? I landed on this one. I just feel like this works with so many different bronzers, and I really like the shape of it. It's perfect for really just like blending everything out. I can get right in the nooks where I need to. It's just a good one. And again, I can also use this to buff my powder at the end of my routine. Multi-purpose. And if I wanted to contour, which I really don't ever do, but if I wanted to, I totally could with that brush. For blush, I went back and forth between these two from Sonia G. As you can see, I recently used this one. I used this one today. This is the Classic Cheek. And then I was going back and forth between the Classic Cheek and the Designer Pro. So what made me choose the Designer Pro is that I feel like I can get just a little bit more versatility out of it. It's a little bit softer. So if I wanted to use this brush not only for my blush application, I could also use it to kind of really place powders right where I want it, right underneath my eye, just more precisely than I feel like I could do with this one, which I still could. It's just that this one is a little bit more dense. And this one's just a little softer. So I feel like I can just get a little bit more use out of this one, again, if I had to go down to 10 brushes. But this is what I chose mainly for my blush, and then if I ever wanted kind of like specific powder application. Lastly, highlight. This was hard. Instantly, I thought about this brush right here, my Linda Hallberg 306. The reason why I thought about this is because this picks up those stiffer formulas so much better than most brushes out there. This brush has made me like highlights that I didn't used to like before. I remember not originally liking the Melt highlight, and then I got a hold of that brush. I used that highlight again, and it picked it up and applied it so much better. But I've found myself really enjoying buffing highlight into the skin a little bit more, and I've been enjoying like the compact cream, like the new highlight I got from La Mer. This one right here, which has a powder as well as a cream in it. And then I really, really love my YSL All Over, like the 3D Glow. And then even my thicker formula from Ofra, this is the Samantha March highlight. This one right here. This brush will work for all of them, and it's really going to apply it softer, or I can build up with this brush. And again, Sonia G. This one right here is the Mini Cheek. This is one of the most unique brushes in my collection, and I feel like it can do so many different things. I could even use this on my eye if I wanted to. This is what I used today to just buff my highlight into my skin. I used it for cream, and then I used it for the powder that is in that La Mer duo, and I used it right up here. And what I like about it is that it's the perfect density to pick up product, but it's also not too dense to where if I'm going to use something that's a little bit more like that cream to powder type of formula, it will not move what's underneath. So I feel like I'm going to get the best of all the worlds with this brush. And again, it's just everywhere. I can do my nose, I can do my cheekbones, I can go underneath my eyes if I wanted to powder there. I also like to powder right on this area right here. So I can take this brush, wipe it off, and just go doop right here and blur out my pores. So that is it, you guys. The 10 brushes I would keep if I could only keep 10. Hopefully, again, this never happens. I don't ever want this to happen because there's so many brushes that I love. I could pick top 10 of brushes that I would want to keep from every brush line that I have, like multiples of, like from Royal & Langnickel, from Wayne Goss, from Sonia G, from BK Beauty, from Esum, REPHR, MAC, Delium Tools, so many more. I really could. I could pick a top 10 for all of them, but if I was going through my entire collection, as of right now, on how I'm doing my makeup, these are the ones that I would pick. Let me know down below, what are some brushes you absolutely could not live without? What are your go-to brushes? And also, let me know if there's any more if I could only keep 10 or top 10 type deals or ranking videos. I know you guys have been asking for several different types of ranking videos, and I'm working on those, but just give me some ideas down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.